Hey everybody, it's Friday. Hope you're going to have an amazing weekend. It is time for SMG Viewers Comments. Before we get started, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get right to it.
How come albums from local bands always suck? There was a great street fair where I grew up, Blacksburg, VA, and I can't tell you how many times I would be blown away by a great live band only to buy their album and find out that it had none of the passion and charm that I saw on stage.
Well, there's a very simple answer to that. Because modern recording technology came along, everybody feels like they have to fuck with the music to make it perfect. And when you start editing out the human elements like slightly off time and slightly out of tune and start making things perfect and start making them better, better, the music suffers and you lose whatever the hell it was that was special that made that band kick ass. I mean, I've heard a million fucking bands that sound exactly the same because they're all cookie cutter, copy pasted bullshit. But I still remember one of my all-time favorite demos was from a band called Nothing Matters out of Windsor that came out in like '93. They did it on a little Fostech 4-tracker cassette thing, and they had a song called Scream If Your Brain Hurts. They did it live off the floor, and it had some of the most intense energy I've ever heard. And, you know, I'm thinking if this band did that song these days, it would be completely sanitized, everything would be perfect, and it would suck! Because it just wouldn't have any of that entry. People, you gotta learn when you make records, remember to leave the musicians in the song. It's okay to let minor flaws go by. That's what we used to call making music. Should try it sometime. It'd be nice if it came back.
Regarding taping strings, why do stuff in the studio that you won't ever do while playing live? Why make the studio version different from anything you'll be able to replicate live? Is it creativity gone haywire or just technical jerking off?
A guy named Peter makes a quote about jerking off. Pun intended or what? I don't know. It's one thing to edit the living shit out of performance. It's another thing to actually, give you the tools to make you get a better performance. There's a slight difference there. Taping off some strings you're not using isn't gonna ruin the player. If anything, it's gonna enhance it. So anything that's gonna help you get to your goal faster is fine. Now, I just ranted and raved about, capturing, the essence of the band at the studio. The other thing is, restricting yourself to only what we can do live. Remember, it is a studio. We can do a lot of cool stuff in here. So we shouldn't just restrict ourselves on what we're going to do live, especially if you're a smaller band and nobody goes to see your band live. Chances are more people are going to hear your recording than they are going to see you. So you might as well give the person who's going to hear that the best experience they possibly can. That doesn't make, mean sanitizing your record and making it as boring as everything else out there. No, it means capturing the elements and whatnot. But if you can tape off some strings and maybe get something a little better than you could without, then why not do it?
Whenever I look at your shit, you just talk about gears you want to advertise for dollars. So I give you a middle finger. All these things could be done with proper mastering through computer. I don't say I'm an audio engineer in my works, but most of these are equalizer work, and all the gears shit you advertise for wouldn't affect more than 5%.
Wow, Sam, you got me there. All these little guitar enhancements I have to make your situation in the studio a little bit easier. Yup, it can all be fixed with mastering. Holy shit, what a revelation. Why didn't I think of that first? Here's another gem of wisdom here.
But most of these are equalizer work.
No, Sam, no, they are not. Equalizer is not going to get rid of your strings ringing away in your staccato parts. It's not going to help one bit. Mastering will not help either. It all comes down to editing. The insane thing was I wasn't even selling anything in that video. If I'm going to sell you guys something, believe me, I will let you guys know, like right now. Hey everybody, this episode is sponsored by DistroKid, my favorite service to put music out to online retailers like iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and Spotify, plus over 150 smaller online music retailers as well. It only costs $20 a year, and you'll keep 100% of your earnings. DistroKid also has lots of cool features, including instant verification on Spotify and change your image on Apple Music and iTunes. What's more is that they've got a new feature that allows you to add credits and liner notes to stores and streaming services. You can now list musicians, contact info, social media profiles, and hundreds of other roles. They've also got the awesome Teams function, which allows you to split your earnings automatically among your bandmates so you can stop arguing about who gets what and get back to making music. And cover song licenses only cost $12 a year. I use DistroKid to put my music out, and my friends do as well. The Dread Machine project we did a while back was launched through DistroKid, and it saved us all a lot of grief. If you've got a band, you really need to check it out. Go to distrokid.com/VIP/Spectre today and grab yourself a 7% discount. Follow the link in the description below. Now back to the show.
Don't start a band with your significant other. The White Stripes is still around.
Yes, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule. Sure. The question is, how much grief are you willing to put up with? More often than not, when a relationship ends, the band ends. So while the White Stripes might be the exception to the rule, chances are in your band, it's probably not going to go that way. Are you willing to risk that? I don't know. Is your career worth that kind of risk of having being in a band with somebody you're in a relationship with and that band falling apart because your relationship ends? Are you really willing to put things to that kind of risk? Ask yourself that. Yes, the Stripes might be the exception to the rule, but in your situation, it's probably not going to go that way. It's just going to end fucking badly.
Speaking of recording on real amps, what's your opinion of the Mesa Boogie dual rectifier Road King?
I have never recorded on the Road King. I've been a proud owner of a dual rectifier since the year 2000. I did the first two Woods of Ypres records on that, and I've had a rectifier cab since, 2007, 2008, something like that. Fantastic stuff. As far as I know, pretty much everything Mesa Boogie has ever put out has been absolutely stellar, with the exception of being the cab clone, which was a rampaging pile of dog shit, and I can't wait till they stop building that fucking thing because it's just absolute garbage. Anything else by Mesa? Yeah, go for it. Their stuff's phenomenal.
Hey Glenn, after this I downloaded the Emissary and got the IR pack, which you sell. And what I can say about the guitar sound I get now blows both my practice amps out the window. I'm still planning to get a Joyo Zombie and a Harley Benton cab later down the line, but for now the impulses are just fine. Cheers from Germany. Oh, and fuck you, Glenn.
Hey Crack 3D, glad to hear that my impulses are doing some good for you. I've been getting a lot of messages like that. Like I said, a lot of work went into those impulses. It took a couple days to make, but it took 20 years to get the tones to that point. I figured out what worked and all that kind of shit. Learning how to mic guitars can be a bit of a learning curve, especially for metal tones. But hey, whatever. That's the whole point of IRs, is to kind of, shorten that whole learning process a little bit, so you at least got an idea of what guitar sounds should sound like should you want to go and mic up your own cab in the future. Anyway, thanks again for writing, man. Always glad to hear that kind of stuff.
Hey Glenn, greetings from North Carolina, USA. Long-time subscriber, and I absolutely love your channel. I've been audio engineering a little over 8 years now and wanted to discuss my beef with Avid Pro Tools. I've been using Pro Tools almost my whole career and recently decided to switch over to Logic Pro X. The amount of money I spend to keep my updates with Avid is ridiculous when they can't keep their software up to date on the latest OS X. It's been 3.5 months and still no update. I also have an Avid 11 rack, my main interface, and guess what? They can't keep drivers up to date with that either. My whole system is falling apart and for no good reason. Avid really needs to get their shit together because I can't take it anymore. Oh, and fuck you, Glenn.
Hey Zach, I'm not a Pro Tools user, but I have used the 11 rack, and all I can say is, what in the fuck were they thinking when they designed that interface? I mean, if you're trying to use the 11 rack just from the knobs on the unit itself, wow, what a clusterfuck. Doesn't sound half bad, and I hear if you actually use the plugin on it, it's not too bad either. But just the overall hardware interface, jeez. I think you'd have an easier time piloting a 747. Now, that being said, I can't really say anything about Avid's upgrade path and OS X and all that kind of stuff, because I'm a PC guy using Reaper, and every time you Pro Tools guys start complaining about upgrade, I just laugh, and I'm like, what's the big fucking deal? Don't they just hand you updates for free, like a company should? I don't know. You guys tell me. Here's the thing. 10 years ago, it was like you had to be on Pro Tools, or you wouldn't be taken seriously. I don't know if that's so true anymore. I'm really kind of curious what DAWs you guys are using, because right now I'm in Reaper and Studio One and Harrison Mix Bus, and I just got a copy of the new Cubase because I'm hearing all kinds of good things. Alex from Gear Gods is yelling at me, you gotta learn Cubase, you gotta learn Cubase. So why don't you guys leave me a comment below, let me know what DAW you're on. Or maybe I'll make that a poll as well. I'll put a random thing up here and let's see what you guys are recording on.
Dear Glenn, I am new to YouTube and have an idea. You have shown great empathy to handicapped people in the past. It is now possible to speak with eye control on computer screens. Is anyone looking into musical applications of this technology? I'm sure controls could be developed to allow handicapped to control a whole suite of instruments. You have access to manufacturers. Is anyone doing this? Bite me, Glenn.
Hey, Gilbert, that's a great question. Yeah, long story short, my grandfather got multiple sclerosis when I was about 11, I think. And I just, saw a great man, just be completely consumed by this, and it fucking sucked. Spent a lot of my preteen and early teenage years loading him in and out of his car so he could, drive around with hand controls and whatnot. So, I've got a lot of empathy to those who are dealing with physical disabilities, and sure, if you guys are getting into audio engineering, I think that's fucking phenomenal, Anyway, as per the original question about the eye and sound control, I believe Jason Becker did compositions with his eyes. There was some special optical system, and this is going back even to the late 90s, I think. It could be mid-2000s. Somebody, if I got this wrong, please forgive me. It's been a while since I saw the news article. This was on CNN or something like that. I'm sure you guys know who Jason Becker is, suffering from ALS and whatnot. But he wound up doing compositions with some kind of optical system where a computer could read his eye movements and he could do whole compositions with just his eye movements. Well, I thought that was pretty freaking phenomenal. I don't know of any other systems. Again, I will put it to you guys, the viewers, if you know of cool systems out there to help the disabled create and compose and record music. Hey, let us know. I'd really appreciate it.
Why have notifications not been showing up on random stations? Anyone else noticing the same thing?
Hey, Nikki, thanks so much for asking. And again, I'm going to put it to you guys. Boy, I'm really asking a lot from you guys this week. Are you guys getting the notifications? Have you been hitting the bell? Are you subscribed? Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, when I put a video out, are you guys getting the notifications? I'd really like to know. Some guys say they're getting it. Some guys say they're not. Love to know what's up there.
Evangelist guitarist Polish Doom Man used to work in a music store and inspire terror in the hearts of noobs who were trying different guitars or amps at the store and complain about not enough gain or poor tone. The guy just ripped guitars from the feeble hands of the uninitiated, started picking like the hammer of Thor with solid, thick tone on any amp and concluded, "There's nothing wrong with this tone, noob." Owned.
Fantastic story, man. I could totally see that happening too. That might actually go on a shirt at some point. There's nothing wrong with this tone, noob. That might be pretty cool. Anyway. Next question.
You might want to go even more basic than what you're teaching. I had a friend for a year complain that his mixes weren't good. I later found out that he was getting his sound card input gain as low as possible and then trying to turn it up in the DAW. He didn't know you want it as loud as you can without clipping. Simple thing, but many don't know.
Hey, Whisker Biscuit, thanks for mentioning that. The more and more I hear from you guys, the more I realize I really do need to do a bare bones beginner system. The whole thing where you learn about gain staging, what levels you should be mixing at, what levels you should be listening to, how to hook things up. Like last week we had a question, guy wanted to know how to hook his monitors up. It seems like the information out there for the young metalhead who wants to get his home studio happening is pretty much slim to none. So I think I'm going to do that. I might actually do a premium lesson for you guys when it comes to just setting up your basic home studio. I think that might be really freaking cool. Thanks for the suggestion, man. The more and more I get this kind of stuff, the more and more it makes me realize just how much it needs to be done. But as for your point, as loud as you can get it before clipping, that may have been true at 16-bit, but in the 24-bit realm, I'd actually argue against. I'm going to be doing a video on that, and that's about the gain staging in the mix. I had a talk with the guys at Pro Audio LA there a couple weeks back, and they were saying, hey, even though you recorded everything hot, what you should do is take all your tracks and drop them down by about 6 dBs and try making a mix. And I did that, and the mix turned out great, and that's exactly what we used on the 5 amp sim shootout demo we did a couple weeks ago. And the drums on that were just phenomenal, super punchy, and they weren't squashed at all. So there is something to be said for leaving some headroom in your mixes.
I've been playing for 35 years and couldn't tell much difference apart from the snare on the cheaper range.
That's because you've been playing drums for 35 years and you probably don't have any hearing left.
Toontrack announced their new Easy Bass software at NAMM this year. Do you think it will end up replacing subpar bass players to the same extent that EC Drummer has replaced live drums in so much independent rock and metal? And is that better or worse than having to deal with actual bass players?
John, I think that's a fantastic question. First off, thanks for bringing that to my attention. Will it wind up replacing shitty bass players? One can only hope. Seriously, I don't know. This is definitely kind of, good and bad all at the same time. Bass lines might wind up getting a whole lot more accurate, but are they going to get better? I don't know. It's like I'd still much rather hear, a half-assed recorded drummer than fucking easy drummer on everything, like we're hearing so much today. I mean, like, this is definitely going to be good for Toontrack's bottom line. No question about it. These guys are going to make a fucking mint off this. Is it going to make music better? Probably not. Bass players out there, you could always just, try practicing.
Do you prefer small or large diaphragm condensers?
Well, Paul, it really depends on the application. When it comes to drum overheads, I definitely prefer small diaphragms, or in the case of Earthworks, really small diaphragms. They've got those tiny, tiny, tiny little diaphragms, and those overheads are probably the cleanest I've ever heard. The Roswell Mini K47's overheads, though, those are medium diaphragms and are great as well, but they're great for capturing more than just the cymbals. You can get a lot of the toms in there, compress them pretty hard, and they sound really fucking good. When it comes to room mics, again, large diaphragms can be cool, small diaphragms can be good. The Earthworks Omnis in the rooms are holy crap, do those sound great. But I mean, large diaphragm mics can be great as a crush mic if you throw it out at the end of a room and smack the living piss out of it with a compressor. You can have a lot of fun with those. For crush mics on a room, yeah, I definitely recommend large diaphragm. Don't have just one set of rules. Just remember that the situation changes depending on the need, depends on the application, depends on what you're doing, and depends on the mic and the player. So the trick is to experiment and find out what works best for you.
Hey Glenn, I have this huge problem, not really about recording, about gigs. When we played our piece in an event, we had to leave our instruments on the stage until this event ends. When it finally ends, these people took pictures with my drum kit without me, my permission or notice, and no, asking politely for them to go away doesn't work. What the fuck do I do?
Okay, it really depends on how important this is to you, because remember, they're just pictures. Some people get really pissy when you pull out a camera all of a sudden. I just don't fucking understand it. If it's like a public event or that kind of thing, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Although I can understand, if they're taking pictures with your kit and it's your money and that kind of thing, that might cheese me off a little bit. And if they're not gonna go away, that I could see why that could be a little frustrating. The thing, what do you do here, especially if they don't go away when asked? Just remember, you've got one of these. And this, you can take pictures of them taking pictures, posing with your shit, and you can put that shit up on social media. And you can share it. Hey, look at these assholes posing with my kit like it's theirs or something. And make sure you tag them on it as well. Like if they're from another band or whatnot. That might be pretty good, because chances are they're not gonna like to get called out that way. So just remember, this thing can be your friend, especially when it comes to calling people out on their bullshit. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, DistroKid, the greatest system to get your music online and out to the world. As always, keep those comments and questions coming. If they're cool, I will definitely see if I can put them on the show. Till next time, don't let making records make you crazy. Hey guys, if you liked the video, be sure to subscribe as I post every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. If you want to learn more about recording, check out one of my tutorials or one of my gear reviews if you want the actual honest truth about a piece of equipment.